Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Perfect. I promised myself I wouldn't say how you're all doing because I know you haven't had too much coffee yet, so I'll take it easy. My name is Rachel Horgan. I'm the Director of Events for the Puget Sound Business Journal, and we are honored to be the sponsor of this morning's panel. I just have a few things to say, and then I'll be introducing everybody, and we'll get into the discussion. I'm really happy to be here, not only as a representative for the events community, because I am the Director of Events for them, but also as a member of the business community through my position at the paper. As many of you may know, or maybe you don't, PSBJ is one of 43 markets, and we have business journals throughout the nation, and we're part of the American City Business Journals. Our mission is to connect business leaders to opportunity and to each other through the news that we report and the events that we put on. We aim to democratize access to business intelligence, and we do that by publishing online daily and in our print paper weekly. My editor-in-chief wanted me to say that we work for tips, so don't be a stranger. So if you're quitting your job or anything, let me know. But in all seriousness, partnering with the Northwest Event Show was a no-brainer for us. We at the Business Journal know how important this industry is. We see this impact, obviously, in tourism, but myself, our company, events is one of the three ways that we make a lot of our revenue. But I also see it in some more nuanced ways. I've seen business deals happen over appetizers at my events. So we know that events really helps Seattle's growth. We also know that to have a successful and a vibrant and an innovative city, we know that we need to have a powerful events community. And because I know a lot of you out here, I know that we have that. So I'm really looking forward to today's discussion to dive a little bit deeper into this topic, to hear from these leaders about what they think the future holds for this industry and what challenges may still lie ahead. So without further ado, please welcome to the stage Rachel Smith, President and CEO of the Seattle Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce. Dow Constantine, King County Executive.
The crowd goes wild.
Bruce Skinner, Executive Director for the Washington Festivals and Events Association. Beth Knox, President and CEO of the Seattle Sports Commission. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell. And moderating today's discussion is going to be John Scholes, President and CEO of the Downtown Seattle Association.
Jelly.
John, I'll turn it right over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you all here. We have an all-star panel, and you have a minor league moderator, but we're going to have a lot of fun today. And we were supposed to text each other if we weren't wearing ties. Sorry, man. We weren't wearing ties. A point of personal privilege as the moderator, I had my own big event this morning that took place across the street from here. My two kids took a King County Metro bus number 11 to school for the first time ever over Capitol Hill.
Wow.
My wife and I sold our shuttle company that we've been running to transport them around the city, the King County Metro, under terms that will not be disclosed, but they're in your hands, Dow. They were supposed to text me if they arrived. I don't know if they did, but Metro will get them there.
It's hung up with the necktie texts.
Yeah, exactly. It's buried. Yeah. Okay, we didn't come here to talk about that, but that was a big event for me, although I think it's going to have negative economic impact because of the gas money I'm going to be saving and the gas taxes that will not be going to the city, state, or county. We've got a great panel of folks who have a long history of making great things happen in this town, including a lot of events. And I don't want to go any further before just acknowledging the leadership of a number of folks on this panel who made possible this building that we're sitting in today that took 10 years of a lot of hard work between the public and private sector. Incredible leadership by Executive Constantine, leadership by our mayor when he was a council member, leadership by Rachel Smith when she was working for Dow in a variety of capacities. So we should not let this moment go by without acknowledging their great work. So, Dow, I want to start with you. What is the county doing today? What actions is your administration taking to support bringing more events to not only our city and downtown, my bias here, but our region as well?
Yeah, well, thanks, and thanks for being here today. I'm excited to hear the discussion as it unfolds. We are investing a lot, and thanks to our creative economy director, the great Kate Becker, who's here today, in helping producers of festivals and events restart after COVID. We invested $2 million COVID dollars in 186 different organizations, helping to get the ball rolling. Get another $500,000 to the DSA to help with revitalization. And Kate led the creation of the first COVID handbook for the creative sector. But if I could just pick up on your comments earlier, John, I mean, this building is going to be a very big deal for getting the events industry back up and running and at full steam. And it took a long time to get this done. I mean, we went to the legislature. We asked for the authority to use the existing visitor taxes to build this building. They said no and no and no again. And then they swiped all the money out of the convention center account. And so the visitor industry sued, and the settlement allowed the county to take over this responsibility. I chartered a new convention center authority. And, Frank Finneran and Matt Griffin and generations of leaders stepped up, and, and Sung Yang, our friend Sung Yang, actually got this metro property freed up from being a bus parking lot and turned over. And it was just a thrill in January to be here and see this grand opening. And if you've noticed, there were a lot of critics and naysayers and so forth along the way. The praise has been pretty universal from all quarters for this building. This is going to make a huge difference in the future of our community.
Mayor, you know the importance of a safe and healthy city to the events community. You ran on that. That was a priority of yours. You're taking on those issues. What are some of the specific actions your administration has taken to date and that we may look forward to ensure that when people come to this town for events, they have a safe and healthy and delightful experience?
Yeah, thanks, John. And thanks for being here to have this discussion, everyone that could hear me right now. So the first thing is not so much an action. I'll follow up with actions, but the first one is sort of setting the narrative of what either a downtown area should be or the areas where we have events. It needs to be safe. It needs to be fun. It needs to create a healthy experience for everyone. And when you say it goes beyond saying that, because that's first you have to claim that in a $7 billion budget. My primary responsibility is safety. It's not defunding it. It's not under-resourcing it. It's making an environment where everyone feels safe. And we took it a step further and created, again, the conceptual or theoretical framework of One Seattle. And in a One Great Seattle, we're listening to one another. We're not radioactive. We're not afraid to use terms like joy and love and faith and hope. So we set the theoretical foundation first, and everyone that works in my administration knows that's what we wake up every single day. So then our policies and our investment strategies that I'll lead with next supports that theory. So we look at where there's plywood, and plywood is our enemy. That's a lack of activation. There's nothing cool or sexy about that. And so we're bringing in small businesses that can help activate. And so in our Seattle Restored program, we brought in around 30 businesses, many of which are people of color, BIPOC businesses, and we'll open up around 45 more. We also want to look at our built environment. I think many of you have heard the term CPTED, Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. So where can we light up areas? Where can we build structures to let our arts and our music and our culture display itself? One of the challenges we have that we will overcome is it's not going to be all my money. I have to make sure I have private investors and land owners and landlords to participate. But it's going to be really, really cool. So we'll activate. And I want my police officers out of cars, walking around. I want residents, the 100,000 residents that live downtown, to feel like they can walk in their neighborhood. And so we start looking at our downtown not as only as one of the strongest economic generators or engines in this state or this country, but a home and a neighborhood. And so you're going to see active investments, active police officers, what I call coffee corners. Yesterday I went to a roastery establishment where they help small businesses get started with a coffee stand. I want to see the Pike Place Market sort of extend itself as well. And so if there's one word that I will use, it'll be activation. So that's our investment strategy, and hopefully you all will reap the benefits of our activation plan.
Couldn't agree more, Mayor, the importance of activating our storefronts and our streets in addition to hiring officers. And I wanted to just follow up because your administration has made a number of changes to how we're recruiting and retaining police officers, probably a topic on a lot of people's minds coming in. What are some of those changes to the process by which we're recruiting and trying to hire good officers in our city?
Sure. So here's the good news. The good news is in the last year or so that we did have around 250 people apply. Then we looked at the application of 250 or so, and we looked at from that step, the next step is to take the test. And we saw almost a 50% drop in people that just said, I applied, and they met the minimum quals, and they didn't take the test. So we're looking at that gap as to why someone would apply and not take the test. And there are some specific things we could do. For example, let people know, hey, by the way, people have test anxiety. I had to take the bar 10 times before I passed it. No, I'm just joking. I did it my first time. I was trying to see if someone laughed at that. I was the first-time passer, by the way, as a lawyer. But this, you could take the bar as many times. I know Dow took it 6 times.
Yes,
so
yes.
You could take it as many. I actually know someone that actually took it 5 times, by the way, but he never leaves with that on his resume, of course. That we tell folks, you can take this as many times as you want. There's no minimum or maximum age, Bruce. There's no maximum age. You and I could go for it. But we lower their anxiety so we can make sure we get the numbers. Now, we also look at the physical agility test. Everything we could do to simplify the process, we're doing. The other thing is the face of the officer now. I'm going to age myself a little bit, but when I was young, it was sort of cool to be that officer. And right now, because the city's narratives, the country has seen they've seen atrocities committed by police departments, if I'm just going to be candid with you. And the narrative is a bad narrative, and many officers, fine officers, are demoralized. So I'm telling my officers, and I meet with all of them. I went to every precinct, met with every single officer, and that's the coach, the mayor coach that I have to roll. It says, you could be my strongest, my most effective recruiters. You're the face of the department. So from the application process to how it's testing to inspiring those, and we're going to have some real cool commercials, and we looked at all around the country and all around the world. We look at recruiting strategies. We're going all in on our recruiting strategies, but it sort of starts with those that are doing the job now, and that's why I have to keep them motivated and realize that we actually respect the fine work that our officers do.
I think we all appreciate the top-to-bottom review that you and your administration have taken to how we recruit not just any old officer, but great officers to our city. So thank you for that. Rachel, events are big business. You're in the business of supporting our city and bringing more economic activity. What are some of the things the Chamber's doing to ensure that events are a big part of our economic recovery in Seattle and across the region?
Absolutely. Well, it's a pleasure to be here with my esteemed panel members, and thrilled to be talking at an event talking about events. We do a lot of events at the Chamber, and my Chamber team is here. They'll have a table, so I want to encourage everybody to go and check that out later. But I wanted to just start by saying, reminding us that we just are coming off an incredible tourism season. We had tons of people here, feet on the street, active in our community, and that has been a huge boon to our downtown revitalization and that activation that the mayor just talked about. New Year's Eve, our hotel demand was at 97%, and I think those are just the signals that we want to see. So at the Chamber, we are working to do those things, but also to celebrate them when they happen, because I think it's a good reminder that things are going in the right direction. And certainly just having this convention center here, this expansion is going to be a huge plus for us. I think, when we're talking about what the Chamber is doing, we really focus on, in addition to doing our own events, really around advocacy. So working with our elected officials here to make sure that we're addressing those quality of life issues like the mayor just talked about, public safety and addressing homelessness and things like that. We are working really hard to make it easier to start a business. So how can we cut some of that red tape? How can we encourage businesses to locate around the region, but especially downtown to increase that vibrancy? and working with our partners, Beth and John, we are sort of the chief civic boosters here. And so we work together to really make sure that we can raise our profile with our own residents and raise our profile nationally and internationally for people to come here and visit. And then I think the last thing I would say importantly is, we just need to be getting more people doing more things. We need them coming to work more frequently than once a day or once a week. We need them to come. I mean, when people start exercising those muscles again, we know that they will do more things because they're doing more things. And while I think as employers, we are all rightly recognizing that flexibility is something that our employees are demanding, and we want to be responsive to that, we also know that humans are an essential element to vibrant places, and so we do need to ensure that humans are coming. So we're working in the business community, John and I both, with our employers to do just that.
Just to follow up, Rachel, do you think events in the corporate community are more important now as the role of the office and work and how we work has changed? Are your members sort of more oriented toward looking to events to support their culture, community, employee engagement, building teams, and do you see a different role for events on the other side of this pandemic?
Absolutely. Yes is the answer to that. Events, and they can be large or small, I think are going to be a crucial element of the new world order in terms of people being at work. So I think that they are absolutely critical. And I also want to, I guess, have an ask for all of you who are in the event space, which is as you're thinking about your events, building in time for people to go and explore. Visit Seattle has incredible maps and things like that, making those available to folks so that they get out into the community, explore. Instead of having, a dinner in a ballroom, although there's nothing wrong with that, think about having a cocktail first and then the dinner in the ballroom and then a dessert after out in town. So that would be one of my asks of all of you. We do that when we do our chamber study missions. When we go to other areas, but that's a way that I think we can really connect in these amazing spaces and the people that are coming here out into our community to also take advantage of the wonderful businesses that we have and the wonderful things we have to offer.
By explore, you mean spend money downtown?
I do.
Right?
That is exactly what I mean.
Translated.
And in other parts of the region that you represent.
And in other parts of the region that I represent.
Of course. We are going to have time for your questions, so be thinking of those. And I'm going to put a question to each of you that I'm going to allow you some time to think of, which is, what is the one event that's coming this year that you're most excited about? Or what is your favorite, most memorable memory of a event in your past? So be thinking. Bruce, you lead
That's all we're going to start thinking about now. These other questions are going to, what?
Does yours involve roses? In 1978?
I don't want to go with that far back, because there are a few young folks out there that weren't even born then. So mine's going to be more inclusive than that.
Okay.
Well, but I did lead the Rose Bowl in tackles for University of Washington.
Most valuable defensive
Michigan
player.
No,
Beating number 13 Michigan. Go Huskies. Okay, Bruce, you lead a state organization, association that's in the business of supporting everybody who puts on festivals and events. Festivals and events and pandemics are like oil and water, and it was an industry that essentially had to shut itself down for a good number of years. What's the state of the industry today across our state? What do they need? Who's back? What are some of the challenges that entities that put on festivals and events are still facing?
Great. Bruce, before you go, I was like, you said Bruce, and you were just, I was like, what in the hell am I going to say?
The other Bruce.
That's that
Mr.
Bruce.
Skinner.
We got to clarify that. I was squirming over here. Go ahead, Bruce Skinner.
Well, first of all, I was at that Rose Bowl.
Oh, right.
That was fabulous. Events, I think, are coming back stronger than ever to 2019 levels. Early events that have been held, the New Year's Eve fireworks show, Wintergrass was held in Bellevue 11 days ago, had 2019 attendance figures. So, people want to mingle, and because of that, they want to come together at festivals and events, and I think they're doing that statewide. And before I continue, I'd really like to thank County Executive Constantine and the mayor for strong support of festivals and events. The executive already mentioned about the $2 million grant that the county made available to event organizers and events and organizations that were just devastated by COVID. And the mayor has supported events. We've met with him, and we're extremely appreciative of that also. But you know, if it wasn't for events, we would go to work and then we'd go home, and that's not good for our mental health. People do want to get together and mingle, and that creates community pride. If an event is held downtown, that means that we're bringing people downtown who might not normally go downtown. And it's a great way to put populations, diverse populations together that normally probably wouldn't mingle socially.
Beth, you took over the Sports Commission in March of 2020.
Perfect time.
What was your starting date?
It was March 9,
March 9.
2020, yeah. So 3 years.
And you're in the business of bringing great sporting events to our city and region. And maybe before we go further, just if folks who aren't familiar with sort of the evolution of the Sports Commission moving out from Visit Seattle, help us understand kind of how you're structured today and your charge. And then I want you to talk about and give us a preview of sort of what's coming that we know, the events that are secured, and what are we chasing that we're hopeful for.
Right. So a sports commission is, their primary focus is to bid on events, premier sporting events, to bring to a region. I would say it's about 50-50 across the country, whether a sports commission is part of a convention and visitors bureau, or if it's independent as a nonprofit. And we used to be with Visit Seattle, and then we became an independent organization that had already been in the works. So when I took it over, that was part of the plan, and then the pandemic hit, so Visit Seattle said, yes, now would be a great time for you to leave. No, but it was really about being able to focus all of our energies on sports and also supporting the sports community. So we work closely with all of the professional teams, with the university athletic departments, youth and amateur sports. During the pandemic, we focused on how can we get youth active again when they didn't have those opportunities. So it's been a great opportunity to also unite the sports community. And one of the first things that I did during the pandemic was convene a call of all the sports leaders, as well as representatives from the mayor's office, from the executive's office, and the governor's office. And the intent was just to have a chance to share ideas and talk to each other. And after that first call, they asked me to continue it on a weekly basis. So for 18 months, we convened on Zoom weekly. And I just have to give a shout out to our incredible sports community, because their willingness to collaborate and share information was like none I've ever seen. They just said, here's our playbook, here's our best practices, and shared that with each other. And it was really great to work with local government as well in developing guidelines to keep fans safe and to get those facilities and sports venues back open. So we continue to work with them. Thankfully now we are only meeting monthly, and it's a very different topic. Now we are talking about how can we collaborate on events or promotions or campaigns, and how do we take advantage of the opportunities ahead. And great examples are like the MLB All-Star Game this summer. That'll be in July. Of course, the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby and Swingman Classic, all of these ball events will take place in T-Mobile Park, but the Fan Fest will be in Lumen Field. And so we are creating an all-star village, if you will, for that footprint. And so the two entities are working together to showcase this great all-star event that will be in Seattle. And then moving forward in 2026, I'm sure most of you know that we will be hosting the FIFA World Cup, and it will be reversed. Of course, the match will be held in Lumen Field, but T-Mobile Park will be utilized as well as a number of other venues. So that's where things are with the Sports Commission. But looking ahead for us, outside of All-Star Game, we also have the National Flag Football Gay Bowl, the 23rd Gay Bowl that will be held in Magnuson Park this fall. We will kick off 2024 on New Year's Day with the NHL Winter Classic. And that is a great outdoor hockey event that will take place in T-Mobile Park. So another cross promotion of our sports teams. And I forgot to mention, of course, the one that's most imminent right now is our NCAA Women's Basketball Regionals next weekend. So if you want to go see great basketball at Climate Pledge Arena, this is the event to go to. But then moving forward in 25, we're going to have the men's basketball regionals. 26 for the World Cup is going to be a massive, massive event, and something that I think that this region it's a generational opportunity to participate in that event.
The folks that are making these decisions, Beth, whether they're with the NCAA or other organizations, what are they looking at? What are the major criteria as they consider cities and where they want to be?
So they're looking at, do you have enough hotel rooms, which now we do for a lot of these big events. For FIFA World Cup, it's going to expand out throughout the state, actually. But hotel room nights availability, the venues that are able to host the ancillary events. They're looking at, do you have the city services to conduct the event, to keep it safe, keep it moving smoothly. So that's all of the agencies that we work with, transportation, police, security, et cetera. And then they're looking at, is this a unique experience for our fans? So when we bid on an event, we are selling our city. And we work closely with Visit Seattle, we work with the Chamber and all of the partners, including the county and the mayor's office, to say, this is what's special about hosting your event in Seattle. And I will say that one of the challenges that we have is we're not an inexpensive city to hold an event in. Our hotel room rates are high, especially for an NCAA. Many of our event venues, there are no discounts. And if you go to South Dakota, they might say, our convention center is free for you to hold your event in this because we want, the city will take that on that cost. So we can't do that here, but it just means we have to sell the other assets of Seattle that make it special and offset that piece of it.
And what would you say those are? What are our competitive advantages to other markets as FIFA or MLB or NCAA looks at our city?
Well, we're considered a destination. There's a lot of people that have been wanting to come to the Northwest, wanting to come to Seattle, and when there's a sporting event that they want to attend, it's just bonus that they say, oh, I get to go visit Seattle. So that's a positive. But we have the best of all worlds here with our waterfront, with all the water activities. You have such close proximity to the mountains and other rural activities. But then you have this compact urban environment that is walkable. And I will just tell a short story that when FIFA was here to do a site visit, we kept touting the walkability of the city and how easy it was to walk from the stadium to the hotels in Midtown. And one of them said, we hear that all the time, but it's actually way longer, right? And I'm like, no, it's very walkable. And so he said, I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove to myself that it is. So he walked from the stadium and met us at the next event where we were shuttling people to, and he actually beat us there. So he said, you have won my confidence. This is an amazing city. And when he was, later a number of them were in the Space Needle, and they were like, now I can see. This is so compact, so easy to get around, and that's a real value that we can offer.
The sun happened to be out on that day too, didn't it, if I remember right?
The sun gods did
City
look
was
down
showing
on us.
off.
Yes, we've actually had great weather every time we've had a site visit from whether it's been MLB or FIFA, any of these. So somebody's looking out for us.
Very good. We'll take it. A question that anybody can take here. You all are students of politics. is there advice that you might have for the event industry on how to strengthen sort of the political case and understanding with other elected officials that maybe don't have the same commitment that each of you, Mr. Mayor and County Executive, have had to further the things that this industry needs to be successful? How do they make a better case to your colleagues and others around what's needed to bring more events to this region?
I mean, I think that the case is there to be made, the number of jobs, the amount of economic activity, the goodwill and good publicity that our region could get then brings more business. But it's been my experience elected officials aren't always paying attention to the facts. So the best thing we can do is unite around a clear, coherent message to deliver that. We have allies in this. We have the businesses represented here. We have employee groups that deliver the services. And you know, I grew up, Bruce grew up here. I grew up working in the service industry, put myself through college. I know firsthand how important it is to have events coming to town, to have a healthy sports environment. That is the thing that keeps a lot of us able to keep a roof over our heads. And we just have to make a coherent, like well-designed case to these elected officials, and they will internalize it. It is, I mean, I've had struggles with my own county council, which is a fine council, over...
That's not what you told me the other day.
Yeah, over investing more in the visitor industry, because people are concerned about a lot of things. They're concerned about housing, they're concerned about homelessness, they're concerned about, and all of these things are worthy recipients of money, but we have to continue to feed the goose that laid the golden egg. And that is this industry that brings so much continuing revenue, business, jobs into our economy.
John, can I just add one thing to that, which is I think we're in a unique moment right now because I think elected officials, whether they, and leaders generally, whether they just sort of haven't been paying attention or maybe are critics, everybody is looking for things that are exciting and things that are exciting to other people. People are looking for good news. People are looking for things that are inspiring because we're coming out of a pandemic, right? And so I think this is a really unique moment in time for all of us who are supportive of this industry to be out and showing it off and encouraging people to come on tours and bringing guests to events, especially people who are in leadership positions, because they're looking for it right now, so let's give it to them.
Yeah, events for me have been like group therapy coming out of this pandemic. You know, we all sort of need that again.
So I'm going to piggyback on that from me, John. So when I gave the State of the City a few weeks ago, I said a line, something like this. I said, you know, shiny things are really cool, I said, but sometimes the basics in doing them very well are better. And what I mean by that is, to use a baseball analogy, when Beth was talking, we have some home runs and some triples through the FIFA games and the All-Star games and the winter hockey game, and these are big events. What I'm very interested in are the bunts and singles, the small events. And so I look at what we already do, for example, Seafair activities, Bite of Seattle, Bumper Shoot, the things that we almost take for granted. First, how do we do those extremely well? Number one, how do we do them better? And then those are my bunts and singles, things that we all know are sort of cool, we look forward to it. But I also look at this, to Rachel's point, with the pandemic, game on. We could try new things, exciting things. We could pilot activities. So I'm going to ask you to work with our administration and the county's organization under Dow's strong leadership. Feed us ideas. I'm not afraid to try something that you know on a grassroots level that may work. And so when I talked about the built environment, when I see plywood, I'm constantly thinking about what can we build? How can I make it easier through the design review process or the permit process to make it easier? And so when I go to different cities, I'm constantly thinking, how can I activate? Because quite frankly, we're still working, I think, under the old paradigm of whether it's the lighting code or the sign code or some of our street signage or our wayfinding limitations, whatever we have in the city, we're still working from a 2019 paradigm. Game on. we realize that our downtown could be at a state of permanent disrepair if we don't get bold. And I'm sure there's some ideas out here that might be bold and we just had not thought of. So that's our opportunity. I think that's Rachel's point, but I'm saying help our administration think of, we have some ideas and we're gonna talk about them a little more granularly in the next 4 to 6 weeks. But some of the best ideas are gonna come from you.
Bruce? Fiesta
Yes.
Bowl, Bruce, not Rose Bowl. Okay. Bruce, are there some creative ideas you're seeing in other cities, other communities around the state as we bring back events to reshape them, to help them be produced in different ways? Are people looking for something different from what they expected and engaged in with events post-pandemic versus pre?
Yeah, first, I think the bunts and singles are, as the mayor said, are really important because they tend to be held every year. And those bunts and singles add up, obviously, to home runs. Like Seafair and Bumbershoot and, other, incredible events that are in this city. Nationwide, people will tell you that Seattle, obviously in a lot of sectors, is extremely creative, and it really is in the events industry. I mean, I can remember early on when Bumbershoot was first established, people in the nation were saying this is one of the most creative events that's ever been held. Spokane has an event called Hoop Fest, which is the largest 3-on-3 basketball tournament in the world. They have an event called Bloomsday, which in some years is the largest timed road race in the world. And so a lot of incredible events have been created in this state. And as I said before, the great thing about those events is that they're held every year.
Is anybody doing a pickleball fest yet? That seems
There's talk
right
about
for
that.
our taking, Mayor.
Yeah,
Right for the town.
there's talk about that, yes.
Yes,
But not yet.
Obviously, it'd be a natural.
Okay.
it's a natural.
All right, we're going to put the final question here to the panel. The event you're most looking forward to, or a incredible memory of an event in your past? Rachel Smith.
Okay, so I have a lot, but I'm going to try to be quick. So I'm looking forward to MLB All-Star Game. That I had the opportunity with the mayor and with Beth to go down to LA this last year for the All-Star Game, and so that was a series of activities, not just single game. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I have to say my two other favorites were the Seahawks parade that Beth also put on. I had the opportunity to watch that from the 7th floor of City Hall, different mayor at the time, but that was really exciting. And then also all the events and activities around the opening of the U-Link, the light rail, when it opened to the University of Washington. And then, John, I have to say, your event this week was just fantastic, and we all had such a great time, and it was really inspiring.
I'll jump on that suck-up bandwagon, too. So.
I am very much looking forward to the reborn, reanimated, rejuvenated Bumbershoot. I think it's a really exciting opportunity for us to continue a long tradition in a new way. I think the All-Star Game is going to be the big event of the year for sure, and it's obviously a great opportunity for a sporting event, but also for us to unite all of our efforts and focus on going that next part of the journey to make our communities what we want them to be and what our residents want them to be. Not to sweep the problems under the rug, right? Because you see that happen in some places where they have an event and they just come in and say, all y'all get out of the way. What we're going to do is to get all of these efforts that are going on and to focus everybody on this event that's coming up and make sure that for not just our visitors, but for the people of our communities, including those who have been struggling, that we marshal our resources to make conditions better and to put our best foot forward for this event. It's going to be an exciting opportunity for our community, and I think the start of better days to come. I didn't get to go to the 1978 Rose Bowl. I had just gotten my driver's license, and my parents wouldn't let me drive down there and wouldn't pay for an airplane ticket. So I grumpily stayed home and watched on TV. And though I appreciate your tackles, it was Michael Jackson's pick as Michigan was driving for the go-ahead touchdown that stuck in my mind.
For me, I like to think of the future and the past. I mean, what Beth has done at the Seattle Sports Commission is absolutely incredible. I mean, any city in the world would love to have the Major League All-Star Game followed by winter ice hockey and, of course, FIFA. And so that's, just incredible events to look forward to. From my past, I remember the events I grew up with. One was Seafair. I remember going to Seafair when I was going to the Seafair Parade when I was a young kid. Again, Bumbershoot, extremely creative. Like you, I'm really looking forward to Bumbershoot coming back. And, and also in my heart's University of Washington football. I told my parents when I was in high school that I wanted to go to the University of Washington because they had just gone to back-to-back Rose Bowls. And they didn't think that was a good idea, that I choose a college based on that, but I probably did. But, my first job was in the University of Washington Athletic Department, and it led to the career I have now. So those are the ones I remember.
So, like Rachel, my favorite in the past was the Seahawks Victory Parade, just off the charts. Looking forward, though, of course, all the events are very exciting to me, but I'm particularly interested in the NHL Winter Classic, putting a hockey rink in a baseball park. And, one of the things that Seattle has an advantage of with this particular venue is that it has to be outdoors, which in Seattle in the winter can be dicey, right? But we can close the roof halfway, put the rink under that closed portion of the roof to protect it, and still have it be outdoors. So I think it's going to be a huge, huge event for us in Seattle, and during a great time of the year for us to bring in a lot of hotel room nights. So I'm excited about that one.
What's so cool about the All-Star Game that I'm excited about is you take an organization like the Mariners, who went above and beyond. They're going to do some investments in Rainier Playfield on the south end of Seattle, some permanent investments that will live beyond the game. That's the kind of economic generation, and I've been told something like the city of Seattle, there should be around a $50 million impact, a positive impact on this kind of activity, so I'm certainly excited about that. I'll also say, I have to piggyback on the Seahawk championship game. That was 2014. It's like 32, 33 degrees. We had over 700,000 people come downtown. So if we win a Super Bowl every year, we're not going to claim that. But here's the thing on the University of Washington. I don't quite realize, people, I don't know if they realize how good this team should be. Now, I think one of the coaches said they're going to be the hunted, not the hunter, because they have a big target on their back. But with Penix back, and by the way, my daughter works for the University of Washington football team, and she does what I have to do. She sells, she's director of recruiting or something along those lines. And she sells the city to these athletes coming over. So my director of communications, he hates it when I say, I'm not committing to this. But how cool would that be if if they do get a good bowl game and we win and we celebrate here? We're not going to get 700,000 people, but I'll guarantee you this whole region will come alive with the possibilities of the kind of team we may have. And I'll close by saying May 20th. May 20th is our day of service. And I'm getting calls now from organizations saying, what can we do? This is going to be a day where we're going to ask everyone in the city to come together on a project. We'll have hundreds of projects. It could be picking up litter, it could be graffiti abatement, and maybe meeting someone at a park rec center to get to know someone that you could help mentor. But we're going to have all of these activities. And guess what? You're going to get a t-shirt if you do it too. But it's our symbolism in our Seattle that I believe if we build structure for people to come out in this great, beautiful, wonderful city, if we build opportunities to help everyone chips in. We did it one time as a beta trial. We got over 4,000 people to come out. So we know it works. So May 20th is going to be one of those bunts that's going to prepare us for good things to come.
Great memories and great things for all of us to look forward to. I want to invite your questions now. So raise your hands. There'll be someone who runs a mic to you, so just hang tight before you ask your question so we can make sure we hear it.
Just want to say on the outset that a huge thank you to all of you guys on stage. Hey, team. walking through the city today, it is night and day from 2 years ago where we are today, and the cleanliness of the city and the safety and everything that you guys are all doing to put us back on the map. So two-part question. How are you guys planning to promote that? You know, in my business, we work with a lot of clients that are outside of the Seattle area, and they're still looking at Seattle as if it's 2020. You know, I've had conversations with clients that have specifically said, we can't come to Seattle, Seattle's on fire in 2023, things like that. Is there any plans from any of the administrations or groups on stage to address our image throughout the rest of the country and the world?
Who wants to take that?
I'll take a shot initially. I'll make my answer short. Number one, I know people would think that's the mayor's job, but I'll tell you why I slow played that a little bit. For you poker players, you know what that means. Because I don't see that as my job. I see that as I have to do the hard work. I have to make it safe. I don't take victory laps because Seattle's not where I want it to be. I've only had a year and 2 months in this job. I have to make it safe. I have to recruit police officers. I have to change the narrative. And I know Dow could talk a little bit about the fentanyl crisis that we're faced with. We have to treat people. We have to house people. And I won't take a victory lap until everyone says, this is the Seattle, this is the best Seattle we could have. And perhaps that's an unattainable goal, but then that keeps me energized, right? So I think that I'm not going to promote, I'll take the praise, but that's not my job. My job is to get it done, to change the narrative, make the right investments. And I say that every single day, and everyone that works under me realizes that's the energy we have to bring.
I do think it's our job at the Chamber, you know, and we do it in partnership with the Downtown Seattle Association and with the Sports Commission and with Visit Seattle and all of our other partners. And the real opportunity that I see is over the next, 10 or so years, the number of incredible transformational things that are going to be happening in this region are going to give us the opportunity to celebrate and to change that narrative about who we are, not here at home and nationwide. So, we've already talked about the sports events that are going to be happening. Obviously, opening this building, we're going to open the waterfront park and pier projects. We're going to open more light rail lines. We're going to open, we're going to have the Boys in the Boat movie come out that's going to tell the story of the University of Washington, right? I could go on and on and on. And I think using each one of those, not as just sort of individual events, but actually pulling a thread through all of them, to really retell our story. That is an initiative that we're taking on at the Chamber in partnership with these guys and others.
Great question. Other questions from the audience? Right back there in the corner. If you could hold the mic tight, we're just having a little hard time hearing from those mics that are roving, so hold them close to you if you can.
Hello, thank you. My name is Mick Holzbeck. I'm an associate producer with Enjoy Productions. And thinking about your baseball metaphor in regards to bunts and singles, when you refer to festivals like Bumbershoot or Seafair, while I'm excited about those events, I personally think about bunts and singles being even on a smaller scale, similar to like the Welcome Back Weeks that the Downtown Seattle Association was hosting in 2021. We had the pleasure of being a part of some of those events as a co-producer with other partners, and it was a very exciting time to see so many people in public space on small-scale productions. And I'm curious about your vision for that aspect of smaller scale events, and also the investment that could be coming for that level of event production in Seattle.
May I? So I 100% agree with you. For all the boost we get out of these big events, the real benefit is day after day events, arts productions, concerts, where people are coming to visit because they have a particular interest, or they're coming to Seattle and King County because we have many of these events for them to enjoy. I'm really proud that Kate, on our behalf, along with Visit Seattle, put together something called the Cloud Break Festival to sort of help recharge and restart the live music performance industry. And so for people staying in, 70 hotels? Is that right? 70 hotels. They were able to stay there and then have tickets, have a pass to shows all around town at many, many venues. We involved well over 100, 150, I think, local musicians. And this happened, you know, in the dark of, I think, November. And it really was an exciting time for people to be able to come, patronize our hotels, and then absorb that thing that Seattle's so famous for, which is local live music. And that stuff, I mean, I know from my own personal travel, that's what takes me to a lot of other cities. And I think that is true for a lot of people coming to Seattle. It's not just the great big, you know, once-in-a-lifetime events. It's the day-to-day arts, culture, heritage that helps make the wheels turn.
And John, I'll just add to that. The big events can also have a lot of small, meaningful impacts. You know, when we're for All Star, we are working with the Office of Film and Music to bring in buskers to have performers downtown Seattle in different parks and locations where we can highlight our cultural scene and really serve that performing community and provide a cool experience for the visitors. We're also working to see if we can keep the bars open longer during these big events so that fans have a chance to stay out later and enjoy the music and the culture. So I think it's a chance for the big events to work on that local level and have some local impacts in different ways. Collaboration is the key. When you work with Visit Seattle to promote your event and give them more things to talk about, that's what their job is, to push this information out to people visiting our region. So the collaborations are key, and you can get those small wins that are really meaningful.
Thanks, Bruce. That's very Bruce of you to let me go. Our new waterfront, 20 acres of park-like settings, is going to give us a phenomenal opportunity for those bunts and singles. And so as I continue to work with our own waterfront committee and looking at what we're trying to do, there's going to be such a ripe opportunity for those bunts and singles and daily, weekly, monthly kinds of things. And that's why I said feed us ideas on what those activities look like, number one. Number two, if you look at what we're doing in our Pike Pine corridor, we're very intentional about those 20 blocks of activation. And I'm big on what I say sort of capturing back our streets. And one of the executive orders we're coming out is I want to know how best a partner I could be to Dow's organization, the county, on some of the health issues. Because it's hard to party and drink coffee and listen to a song when you see someone in crisis. And that is an elephant in the room of dealing with Seattle has to deal with, like every other major city. When Austin, for example, has their South by Southwest, it's a great festivity. Thousands of people come there to celebrate it, music, art, theater, technology, exchange ideas, drink beer. It's a good thing. But you also see the effects of opioid use and mental illness. So it all comes together in what we're trying to do, but physically in terms of capital improvements, we have some great opportunities. And I know I want to acknowledge that many of you have gotten through some really tough times with the lack of events. We have to openly talk about that. And we have to use that sort of pain we all collectively had to be the impetus, the energy behind what's in front of us, because we have some exciting things in front of us.
Bruce, you wanted to get on this too?
Yeah, quickly, compared to other cities in the country, Seattle has incredible neighborhood events. Moja Fest, Ballard Seafood Fest, West Seattle, you know, and Seattle Center has 26 ethnic festivals. And they're smaller than, say, a Bumbershoot or a Seafair, but they still draw tens of thousands of people. And, you know, that makes for better mental health, I think, for everybody.
Great question and perspective, and thank you for the compliment, too. We'll take that. I think we can squeeze in one more, and then Bob Brinkman with Event Rep, his company, he's going to come up and kind of wrap us up and share a couple of key takeaways. So I think we got one more question over there. You got the mic before you.
Hello.
Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Terry Patton. I own a company called Espresso Elegance. We've been on Lower Queen Anne for 32 years. I love Seattle. I just want you to know that we're in the events business. Every day when I drive in at 5 in the morning and I see the sun reflecting off of the water, it's just inspiring. Today, driving to Bellevue early across the 520, seeing the mountain out. We live in just the most incredible city. And I want to thank all of you for all the effort that you are providing to turn Seattle around and become everything that we know it can be. Now, for a very practical question. During the last couple of years, where I am across from the Seattle PI building, we've had nothing but problems with vandalism and graffiti. We spent $20,000 in the last year and a half having our trucks cleaned almost daily because of the graffiti. 2 catalytic converters stolen, 2 gas tanks drilled, to the point where we've had to move our trucks out to the Linwood area and drive them in every day because we do not feel safe. Even today we saw someone who had thrown a piece of furniture out, and overnight someone had graffitied that piece of furniture, which I will pick up and throw in the dumpster. We see very few police cars in our area. Every time I've called, no one responds. I know it's getting better, but at what point do you think it will be safe once again for me to bring my trucks back to Seattle, or to really feel good about my neighborhood as far as safety is concerned?
Yeah, I think that question is squarely directed at me. So first, from a very practical standpoint, first of all, I don't push back. I agree with everything you said. From a practical standpoint, Israel, will you raise your hand, please? Make sure I get your contact information from Israel. And the reason I say that is that's how I've been trying to clean up our city on a case-by-case basis. I'm very accessible. I work 7 days a week. Now, to answer your question directly, we completely built a new system to try to abate graffiti, but more importantly than just remove and abate, we're trying to sort of penetrate the culture of graffiti to find out. It drives me crazy. People say, well, it's art, it's expression. No, it's not when it's unwanted. So we centralized a system by which we can also find canvases on the community of graffiti artists, if we want to refer to them as artists. Where can they display their wares? What's going on in their life that we have a need for this? And it's out of control. And so we put more money in the budget. Quite candidly, I got a great city council too, by the way, Dal.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my line. I'm sticking to it. I didn't quite get all of what I wanted, but we're trying to figure this out in terms of how do we stop it, how do we redirect it, and how do we enforce it better, and how do we abate. So I hired a person on my cabinet to specialize in this and work all, because I had like 8 departments, whether it's SPU and SDOT, and so we're working on that, number one. Number two, with respect to police officers, that goes to our recruiting strategy. And I feel very confident within my first term here that we're going to get our numbers up. I'm shooting for 1,400. I have about 950 or so now. I do have attrition kicking in. I have fine officers that have other options. And so all I could say is I feel very confident our numbers are going to go up, go higher. We're going to do everything possible. And for your particular property, let's stay in touch, and I want you to contact my staffer that's here, okay?
I was copied on an email last week that somebody sent about a bunch of graffiti and other issues to your graffiti czar. I don't know if that's the title that you're using, but the position you created. And it warmed my heart because within 3 hours, that individual responded with the actions that had been taken and further actions that were going to be taken to deal with the issues. So thank you for that system you've built.
Yeah, and I'm working with the state too, because quite frankly, when tourists come here, they're evaluating us on what they see on the sides of our freeways. And I got to tell you, I got to say one real funny joke. It's sort of funny that I had been in office very long, and I'm the optimist in life, and I saw some graffiti and it said Bruce something, but had gone by it real quickly. No, it wasn't this Bruce Skinner. And I said, hey man, I got a fan out there, and I said, there's some graffiti out there. It said Bruce, and I thought it had an exclamation mark, something like that. And then they says, no, Mayor, it says Bruce sucks. Well, we got to tack that one right away. So
Then you know you've
That one cleaned up.
we jumped on that one. No, we didn't. We didn't specialize. Yeah. But anyway, that stuff is driving us. And so the governor now and the state are really, we have new forms of collaboration. But if you look at our tunnels, look at our freeways, I just got to say that stuff drives me nuts, because when I go to cities, one of the first things that I see is in going to different countries, I see the lack of it. And it's more than symbolic. It's how one feels when they enter our city. So this is graffiti is critical work. And quite frankly, I get my hits on it. And why is this mayor obsessed with graffiti? Well, it has to do with how we feel, I believe. And I think that's why it's important.
So Baba Brinkman's going to come up here and close us out. Don't go anywhere just yet. As he does, come on up here, Baba. I just want to thank our panel. You know, these are all folks who could be doing lots of other things with their talents, and they've committed themselves over decades, really, to this city, this region, and this state. And we owe a lot of gratitude to them. And I'm so grateful for the position we're in because of their leadership. We've got a lot of assets to work with relative to other places as we work ourselves out of this pandemic. And thanks to all of you. You know, the investments in infrastructure to support events, hotels and trains are one thing. The policies and legislation and all those things are needed. If we don't have the vendors and folks to service this industry and to do the hard work, to take a risk to start a business, as you all have done, to employ people, to make it through this pandemic, we don't have events. So thank you for what you all are doing to make this industry so critical to our region. Baba, close us out.
All right. Check, check. 1, 2. How you guys feeling this morning? Are you awake? Some of you may have seen me here yesterday morning. My name is Baba Brinkman. I'm based in New York, originally from Vancouver, BC, and my creative agency is called Event Rap, and it's based on a simple hypothesis. The event industry needs rappers. Rappers can freestyle about whatever topic you want. We can write songs about whatever topic you want, and one of the make some noise if we rapped at your booth yesterday. Yeah. All right, we're cruising around. We can rap about any booth. So what I'm about to perform now is an original rap summary of this past hour's panel. It was written very quickly over in the corner, and I'm going to try to, respond to the Easter eggs that I picked up on, and hopefully you'll recognize some of them too. So there's some participation in this one. It's close to my heart because I grew up in the Northwest. I'm a Vancouver, BC boy. Came to Seattle lots on weekend trips. Northwest Event Show. The Northwest is back. Yo. Welcome to the Northwest, your source for events where it's more exciting, picturesque, and more in-depth. The Pacific Northwest destination makes more sense. No other region matches the rap passion we pour into them. So if you rep the Northwest, raise your hand. I grew up in Vancouver, BC. I'm taking a stand. Rep the Northwest. Now start to wave them like a fan. Put your hands in the air for Northwest events. It's a hip-hop concert. That's right, it's the Northwest, baby. We do it well, we do it super well. Just look around the room right now and you can tell everyone pitches in at every level, right up to mayoral. You can ask the Right Honorable Bruce Harrell. In $7 billion budgets, it's all safety and action activation of every player. Nobody is radioactive. You heard the mayor bringing that public policy energy. There's nothing cool or sexy about plywood. Plywood is the enemy. I was taking notes in detail. Tell me, Bruce, did I get it right? Forget the test anxiety. He took the bar exam 10 times. And that's a direct quote. And yes, he did say something after, but I have to choose which quotes to include when I'm rapping, so let's go with 10 times. Seattle's in good hands with good plans, and yes, self-deprecation is the mark of a good man. And it's not like rap music has an official bar exam, but if it did, I did not land my first few dozen attempts, and that's flexibility. It's key. That's what employees demand. That's something the Seattle Chamber of Commerce understands. Events large and small are the central. They're the crucial way to uplift. Ask the queen of Seattle's New World Order. I'm talking Rachel Smith. Don't just have a gala reception. Have a cocktail round like John Scholes said. Spend money downtown and everywhere else in the region. Yeah, that's the golden rule. Congratulations, John. dawn on your kids finally riding the bus to school. That's a landmark, a city center rite of passage. Bruce, what is the role of festivals in all of this? Because John is asking. Bruce Skinner, not Bruce Harrell. That was stressful. It was the first question the mayor ever got that he couldn't answer. Festivals and events, right? The Northwest represents from massive stadium shows to muddy festival tents to hippies in the forest who came to sway to the music in a trance. And for that, they have to thank the two Bruces. Which Bruce? This Bruce. No, you Bruce. No, you Bruce. Please do. Oh, thank you, Bruce. You'll go to you. That is very Bruce of you. Check it out. Bruce doesn't love graffiti, though, in many ways that are plural. So what is the answer? Well, there is some art in there, so give them a place for a mural, right? That would be kind of beautiful in this place, like it's the Northwest. It's your source for events, where it's more exciting, more picturesque, more in-depth. The Pacific Northwest destination makes sense. No other region matches the raw passion we pour into them. So if you rep the Northwest, raise your hand. I grew up in Vancouver. I'm taking a stand. Rep the Northwest. Now start to wave them like a fan. So put your hands in the air for Northwest events.
Wow.
Oh, I'm not done. I'm not done. You guys want more?
Yeah.
It's the Puget Sound, baby. Yeah, we put it down. It's the beauty, the people. It's the natural splendor all around. Puget Sound, the Business Journal even paid for this morning. And yes, the people who work there work for tips like Rachel Horgan. So you can hit them up if you're feeling journalistic and keen to get underpaid. Because, hey, that's good business. Good business. That's a theme of the county executive team. It's a machine. Check the Honorable Dow Constantine. Someone tried to skim off the COVID money package, and Dow was like, not in my town, and he sued their asses. And that's why you're in this beautiful $2 billion spot that's used to be a literal bus parking lot. That's Dow. He's like, what now? Big executive plans, event organizations get the distributed grants. That's good business. It's event industry hip-hop. Shout out to the Seattle Sport Commissioner, Beth Knox, bringing together the all-stars. Sports is awesome for business. She's like, what? I'll show you the hotels are walking distance. We could just prove it on foot. Let's put the shoes to the curb, and that might be the most Seattle story I've ever heard. During the pandemic, the whole industry got buried deep, and now live events are coming back. It feels like group therapy, according to John Scholes. It's the field that we play on. Like the mayor said, the field is open, so game on. The city is open, so come and mingle amongst the tinsel. But it's not just the home runs. It's about the bunts and singles. The small events at the bottom, the social proof, that's where it is. The quirky events from Bumbershoot to Hoof Fest. There's really a Hoof Fest. The industry events, it's alive, it's returning quick, and you heard it here first. Get ready for the pickleball tournament. The best events of the year coming up quick, and they ain't in the East. The race cars in the All-Star game, and that's Major League. The past was amazing. The future is yet to be made, and Beth can't wait for the next Seahawks victory parade, and we can make it happen. The path to development is clear. Bruce said it, we just have to win the Super Bowl every year. You heard the mayor, that's an official commitment. Sign up for official projects like picking up litter on May 20th, and the more people who volunteer, the more team spirit we build up in here for that victory cheer for the Northwest, right? You can raise it up higher, and for those people who push back and say Seattle's on fire, a glass of water over their head might be your desire, but the response is more like, yeah, damn right it's on fire, because it can't be stopped. It's on a roll, okay? It's got a straight flush, like the mayor said. That's a slow play with the local musicians rocking every event space, even rappers on the event convention stage. So welcome to the Northwest. It's your source for events where it's more exciting, more picturesque, more in-depth. The Pacific Northwest destination makes more sense. No other region matches the raw passion we pour into them. So if you rep the Northwest, raise your hand. I grew up in Vancouver, BC. I'm taking a stand. Rep the Northwest, right? Wave them like a fan. So put your hands in the air for Northwest event.
Well done.
Thank you guys very much. I'm Bubba Brinkman from Event Rap, and we'll be rapping all day long. Thank you guys. Great panel. Thank you.
Well done.
That was good. That was good.
Baba came up to me just before we started, and he's like, I'm Baba, I'm going to do the event wrap. And I thought, okay, cool. And I thought he was going to do, there's some key findings I'd like to share with you. And I had no idea he was going to do that. Well done, Baba. That was impressive. Thanks to our panel. Thanks to all of you. Have a great rest of your day, folks.
That was good.